Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Anna. I am a portrait photographer in the Chicagoland area, and today we're going to be talking about Halloween photo shoots. I do want to give a quick shout out to Cassie, who is the model and also the person that came up with the idea of our shoot this week. So if you're interested in checking her out, I will list her Instagram and her social media in the description box below. Over the summer, the movie La Llorona had came out, and Cassie was really excited for that movie and decided that she wanted a photographer to help her out to do this type of concept. And I was super excited to do it because I love Halloween and I usually don't have models or clients ask me to do Halloween photo shoots. So we had quickly connected and tried to figure out what we wanted to do for this setup. If you are unfamiliar with who La Llorona is, in English it translates to weeping woman, and the story, or at least the version that I had found online, goes as the woman had witnessed her husband sleeping with another woman, and because she got very angry and enraged about it, she decided to drown her children, and because she felt guilty about that, she decided to drown herself as well. And now that she is stuck in this purgatory and can't go into the afterlife, she is continuously looking for her children. I was always fascinated by this story. I remember a lot of my friends at school telling me about it, and I had been obsessed with it ever since. So thankfully Cassie had reached out to me and we had just gone straight into selecting the day and doing the shoot. Now, I am aware that the story of La Llorona mainly pertains to water, but I also wanted to take some photos by a cemetery, mainly because one, I don't normally take photos near a cemetery because that is not usually the things that I do, and two, because we were pretty south from the Chicagoland area, it's not going to be as busy of a cemetery, but I do want to recommend that if you are planning on taking any photos near a cemetery, to be very respectful, because that is where the people's deceased family members are, and you always want to be respectful of the dead. As we were driving around, I did notice that there was a sort of chapel almost building right in front of the cemetery that I wanted to use, mainly because one, Cassie had brought a baby doll that she was going to use as the sort of child of La Llorona, as well as a veil. So we could almost do a version where she is a bride and also looking for her children. The equipment that I was using that day was the Sony A73 along with the 85mm lens. I did not want to bring a off-camera flash because this was around the time in the summer that I wasn't practicing with that, and I didn't want to test anything with the Halloween shoots. Considering that it was also middle of the day and very hot, adding a flash to that I think would only make it worse, and I also wanted to use those shadows to create some really high contrast photos. Like I had mentioned before, the tip number one is to be always respectful of your surroundings. I did want to make sure that I was respectful of the graves as well as every type of property that we were walking around. So I didn't want to step too much onto the grass as well as stepping onto the graves, considering that I wanted to be as respectful as possible. The second tip that I have for you, especially depending on the weather, is to always make sure that your model brings some water with them. The day that we had picked, sadly, was probably one of the hottest days in the summer, and both Cassie and I were trying to make sure that her outfit wasn't too heavy and make sure that she was still comfortable and cool. So we always wanted to take a lot of water breaks and make sure that she was okay, considering that her dress was pretty heavy. I do want to recommend that if you are planning on doing a Halloween photo shoot, to try to do it as late in the summer or as early in the fall as possible. Because the dress that Cassie was wearing was very heavy and layered, it was a wedding dress, this obviously would have been a better option to do later in the summer or early in the fall to make sure that she was comfortable and staying cool and we didn't have to take as many water breaks. So this might be a good idea for you to pay attention to your model or your client's costume and try to adjust as best as you can for the weather. The last tip that I have for you is to try to bring as many props as you can, or try to make sure that the background matches perfectly to your concept. Because we were doing La Llorona, obviously we did some photos by the water, and depending on your location, you might need to bring a couple more props. I do know that Cassie brought a baby with her, and she also brought a couple skeletons that we could use to have in the foreground, or maybe her holding the baby. But it would also be really cool to make sure that you have a couple extra props that maybe you want to hold in to also use with your theme. Now, the great thing when it comes to horror-themed Halloween photo shoots is that your model or your client aren't actually necessarily trying to look pretty, they're trying to look scary. So you have a little more freedom when it comes to editing those photos. What I would suggest is to try to make sure you are doing some very highly contrasted and dramatic edits. If you are also interested and you have enough time, I would try to find some smoke elements or some smoke graphics or anything that sort of pertains to that theme and try to incorporate it in the photo as well. On that same note, and I know this seems pretty obvious, is to try to give those photos to your clients or your models as soon as possible, especially if they are giving you enough time starting in late summer and early fall. They really want to make sure that those photos are delivered before Halloween so they have enough time to post them on their social medias. So that is a quick tip, and I know that seems pretty obvious, but just always try to make sure you deliver your photos on time. But that is the end of this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification button to get notified every single time I post a new video. I also want to give a quick shout out to Cassie, who was the model of the day. She did an amazing job, and if you are interested in working with her or seeing more of her work, I will list it up here one more time and put it in the description box below. If you're interested in more Halloween videos or videos just like this, I have a playlist created which will be listed up here as well as in the description box below. If you're interested in traveling the world with me and seeing what I do in my free time, that will be also listed in the description box below. But that is all that I have for you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy Halloween!